Restoring a Zenith watch to its former glory is something that our heritage department carries out passionately. Once the watch is back at the manufacturer again, we restore it following strong and strict ethics. Unlike renovation work, the objective behind the restoration project is to preserve the watch in its original historical condition, respecting its patrimony and traits while keeping as many of the original parts as possible. Whether it is the movement or its function or cosmetic feature of the watch, the idea is not to make the watch appear as a new one, but to allow the original character of the watch to shine through.
With the company's vast inventory of original components, Zenith icons are restored in the very same place they were originally made, using historical components, a feat very few watch manufacturers can claim.
Horloger, c'est de travailler sur des montres, dans mon cas, de leur redonner vie ou de les faire perpétuer dans le temps. C'est ça notre métier. La restauration, c'est la deuxième étape de tout le procédé Icons. Alors c'est la même manufacture donc depuis 1865. On a les mêmes bâtiments et la même histoire présente sur notre site. Alors il y a différents mouvements et calibres qui ont été créés ici, comme le El Primero, qui est le premier mouvement chronographe automatique. Le calibre 5011, qui ont remporté des prix de chronométrie. Le 135 aussi également, qui était un mouvement chronomètre. Le 3019, qui est le premier mouvement automatique chronographe. On a encore toute l'histoire qui est présente ici, que ce soit les archives, les documents. Nous arrivons à retracer les pièces qui nous arrivent. On peut avoir des composants soit égarés, soit cassés. On vient soit retrouver les composants d'origine, soit à refabriquer s'il n'y en a plus.
Hello and welcome to the Zenith television studio and a very special live Watches and Wonders panel discussion. My name is Sophie Furley and I'm editor-at-large at World Tempus. I'm joined today by two special guests. On my right, Julien Tornard, CEO of the brand. Hello, Julien. How are you?
Hi, Sophie. I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm excited for our topic today. And I'm also joined by Romain Marietta. Hello, you're Zenith's Product Development and Heritage Director.
Absolutely.
It's quite a mouthful. I'm glad I got it right. Okay, so we have a very hot topic of discussion today. We're going to be talking about vintage watches, and not any old vintage watches. We're going to be talking about Zenith vintage watches. Now, you know better than me that Zenith has been producing watches for a very long time, since 1865. So there must be, I imagine, many treasures out there in the wilderness. Now, instead of leaving these treasures to our colleagues in the pre-loved watch world, you've decided to start your own vintage department. Julien, can you tell me a little bit about this new initiative?
Of course, Sophie. You know, in 2019, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the El Primero. We also were the first brand to have a collaboration with Philips, Auction House and Orel Bax. And during all the year, we've been working on how can we relaunch pieces from those years, and we did it through a lot of revivals that were very well welcomed during those years. But we also decided to work on a new approach on vintage watches and to say how about acquiring back some iconic watches from the 60s, from the 70s, I would say mostly from 69 to 72, and basically restore them and make them available for our collectors to acquire in a very safe way, because authenticated, guaranteed, and restored by the brand itself.
Wow, that's amazing. What a great initiative. And it's called Zenith Icons,
yes,
I believe.
It's called Zenith Icons, because for us, this is really the right word to understand that these pieces became icons of the brand since that time.
Okay, wonderful. Romain, you have the most enviable job in all of this, in that you are in charge of searching the world for these treasures. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
We of course have our eyes wide open, looking for the best and the rarest Zenith watch possible, in the most incredible condition possible. This is the key of the project. It's to really source the best one available. And then, of course, when you look at this, you need to find the one that have the most significant historical power and significance in the watch in this history of the brand. And of course, one of the key aspects of each icons we want to source is to be sure that they have their original serial number. This is a key because we have the chance to have all the archives and all the production books, so we can really analyze and certify and check that they are really original components and original watches from the vintage market.
I imagine that you both follow what's happening in the vintage world as far as Zenith is concerned on the auctions and the online platforms. Are there any particular references that collectors are really looking out for?
I would say quite a few, but today we focus on pieces from 1969 to the mid-70s. And of course, I mean, the key ones are A386, A385, A384, all those amazing watches that were part of the very first years of the famous El Primero movement. Right, Romain?
Yeah, no, definitely. We have the chance to have a very rich history and legacy. So, of course, we focus our attention, first of all, in this period, this era, 1969-72, which is where we have created the El Primero and launched and released a lot of very interesting models. But definitely we will not stop there. We will also explore different period of time, period of designs. So we have created also different acts for the icon programs, and we will release them step by step in each and every boutiques that we have around the world.
Okay. Going back to your treasure hunting role, when you find a piece, maybe on the other side of the world, what happens next? How do you check it, verify it? What's the process?
You're right to mention that it's a hunt. We have a hunting board, basically, where we try really to find the best ones, even the unicorns, you know, the one that you think they are existing, but you want to have them, so it's really exciting when you get your hands on it. We can buy from private collectors, we can buy on Chrono 24, we can buy, of course, at auctions. And once we have them, first of all, we analyze the pictures we can get. If we can get the piece in flesh, it's even better. But with all the different pictures that we can get, we can analyze it, check if it's, I would say, faithful to the original condition in terms of components, movements, the dial, which gives the value also to the piece. And then, as I said, so sourcing, first of all, then authentifying the piece, restoring the piece in the purest essence possible, and then guaranteeing, certifying, and then put them back in the boutique and to give them a second birth.
Yeah. There are different schools of thought with restoration for watches, but also for other things like classic cars. One school of thought is to bring something back to the beauty it had when it left the workshop. And another school of thought is to leave the little dings and dents and scratches, and so it shows the journey.
Definitely the second one.
Okay.
Definitely the second one. These watches have encountered a journey by themselves, so we have to respect that. That's really important for us to really not make the watch appears as brand new, but to respect his own history. And they have like 40, 50 years old, and we just want them to give a second birth and to let them live for the next generation and for 50, 60, 70 next years ahead of us. So we really respect this and try to, as much as we can, put all the original components that we have in stock, which is a strong asset because we have a huge stock of original components.
You mentioned earlier the word unicorn. Can you explain what that is in vintage terms? It's a new term for me, so.
Yeah, there's some watches that are very rare, produced in the limited batch. I have an example of one here that I would like to show you. This is basically a watch that has 50 years old. And we found this one new old stock almost. It hasn't been touched. It has been safely, I would say, stored in a box for 50 years. So the watch is completely new. You can see that they still have the price tag and the original tag price from that era. It has been found in Italy. So this is really a unicorn in a state, in a condition, NOS, new old stock, even with the painting on the back. So this is really incredible and very exciting to have these kind of pieces. And of course, you can find other models that needs to be restored, needs to be updated. But these kind of unicorns that makes my job really exciting. Also for me and my colleagues, Laurence, which is the head of the heritage, and when we do this hunting board, checking all the ones that we tick the box, that all the watches that we wanted. When one day we always think that we will find it, because we know that it does exist somewhere, but it just needs to reappear. So yeah.
That is exciting. I'm very envious.
Exciting.
Julien, you had a soft launch last autumn in Tokyo.
Right.
How was it received by your Japanese clients?
Extremely well. You know, Japan is a country with a very large community of course, watch aficionados, but also vintage collectors. And our brand is well known there. The El Primero has an amazing reputation, and people love them. So actually, of course, we started, it was end of October, early November. We had a new concept in our boutique, so we took advantage of this event to basically launch the Zenith Icon program in Japan, and it had a great welcome. So very exciting. And it's only the first boutique, you know. We're going to move on to Shanghai. We're going to go on with Dubai, with Paris, with Singapore, different location. So it's a very exciting program. Before also having a similar offer in our headquarters in Le Locle for the visitors that are coming to our Swiss mountains from Neuchâtel. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I wanted to talk to you both about your archives, because Zenith you're known for this incredible, what would you call it, almost asset that you have, archives going back 150 years, and not only documents, but machines and plans. And Romain, for you, this must be just gold dust when you're researching.
Yeah, it's a treasure indeed. We have the chance to have a rich patrimony and history, and we have more than 1 kilometer of archives, papers and folders full of treasure information that allow us to analyze, to check. We also have the production book from all the different periods. So that's, I would say, priceless when it turns to authentifying and to be able to give this kind of information, extract of archives for the clients. So yeah, it is absolutely a treasure. Yeah.
And of course, when we talk about restoration, in Le Locle, in Zenith, we have all the components. We have all the archives, but we have all the elements and the tools and the components to basically restore these watches. So there is no better way than to buy one of those vintage that went through our manufacturer, because you know it's going to be done exactly the way it was during those days.
So you can pretty much restore anything.
Absolutely. It's a commitment that we give to our clients, you know, and it's a commitment we give to clients who bought watches over the last 156 years, as well as those ones buying now, you know. We repair every single Zenith from day one. And this is, for me, a great commitment in terms of being here forever.
Yeah, it must give the clients, you know, reassurance as well when they're, you know, spending often quite an important sum of money, to have that sort of reassurance of the value of their timepiece.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a strong guarantee. And when you buy a vintage, you never really know what you're going to buy until you have the watch in your hands. So when they buy it and they know it went through our manufacturer, again, it's a huge, I would say it's a safety way of buying vintage watches. Yeah. Absolutely.
Excellent.
A true trusted channel for the end clients, for the collectors, especially for them. They are, really picky on the details. So you can imagine how important is this fact for us.
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely. Each watch comes with a certificate. I was curious to know, do you, because you have all these archives and all this amazing information, do you add it to the certificate, the provenance of the watch, where it's been, where...
Yeah, basically we have developed a passport like yours. The passport we have for the information for ourselves, but this is for the watch. And inside of this passport, which serve as a guarantee, and that needs to be kept with the watch during the second life that we are giving. There's a lot of information, background information if we have, distinctive features, of course, pictures after restoration. It's handwritten also by the watchmaker who did the restoration. There's also a certificate of accuracy, just when the watch left the bench of the watchmakers. So there's a full set of information regarding the watch, particularly which they are all uniques. They will be all unique. The icons are totally unique.
Wow, that's incredible. So I hope everyone has good handwriting in the workshop.
It's better, yeah.
It's getting better. Now you need to do calligraphy lessons for your watchmakers. Another subject I wanted to touch on that has been very hot this week at Watches and Wonders is that of sustainability. And the beauty of Zenith icons is that you are restoring and repairing and giving a second life to these timepieces. Is that something that your clients are susceptible to as well?
For sure. I mean, it's a key element. And I think, first of all, when you talk about restoring vintage watches, we tend to think about the past. Because, of course, we take watches from the 60s, from the 70s, and we restore them for today's clients. But it's actually a very strong message to today's world and to the generations that are coming, because we are in the middle of sustainability. We are in the middle of circular economy. We basically tell everyone that every single Zenith that had been produced since day one again will be restored, will have multiple lives, and will be here forever. And you know, there is no bigger frustration for clients that have a watch that they inherited that could be 30 years old, 40 years old or more, and if you're told by the watch brand that they cannot repair it, you know, it's not really the right message. So we believe that we need to go into this direction to say every single watch you have at Zenith, including the brand new one that we're launching, they will be here forever. And this is sustainability. This is circular economy. So it's a key aspect. And for me, it goes beyond. It's even a question of respect, you know, because you buy a cell phone, you know that the minute you buy it, it's already obsolete. When you buy a mechanical watch, a quality mechanical watch, you know it's going to be there forever. And even in hundreds of years, if you have a watchmaker able to regulate the watch to put some oil, the watch is still going to work. So it's a great message, you know, to give to people of today and of yesterday. I mean, for all clients.
Yeah, that's very true. Now let's move on to logistics.
Sure.
So how is it going to work? Are you going to send 2-3 watches to several boutiques, or are you going to have a collection that tours? How will it work?
That's one of the big headache, and I will let Romain answer because it's a big headache. No, but the sourcing is very difficult because if you have a high demand on a particular watch, of course you work on increasing your production capacity, but the sourcing is independent of us because we cannot produce these watches. Okay, we have to acquire them back. And having watched the results of Zenith in the auction over the last few years, the value is going up and up. So you have less and less people willing to sell us their watches or to let them acquire their watches. So it's a question of sourcing, which will and is, of course, limited. But yes, you're right. We go boutique by boutique. We create a very special environment, and we let people enjoy. You know, it's a great way to move on. Yeah.
Absolutely. So imagine someone is interested in seeing what you have available. Where can they see them?
But first of all, we are dropping in each and every boutiques. We have started this in our boutique in Ginza, in Tokyo, last October. We are now releasing a new set of watches in Shanghai. So of course they can come obviously to the store manager there in the boutiques locally. We are also creating the platform online on our website in which the collectors would be able to see where the pieces are. They can of course contact the boutiques, but they can also contact me personally, and I will be delighted to give them the information. If, for example, the collector is in the US and is interested to buy one which is in Japan, I can do the contact, I can do the logistic, as you said, and give him the information about the watch. So this is how we are working with this principle. And I think it will be very interesting for the collectors to get this information.
Yeah,
and I will give Romain's personal cell phone number as well as personal address to make sure that any client in the world can have the right information on time.
That's service for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Romain, I believe you have another watch hiding back there that.
Yeah, it's another example of what we can hunt. I would say it's a A386 model, one of the most iconic one, if it's not the most iconic one. For me, it's the grandfather of them all, for especially for our collection nowadays, because it's the first one that was equipped with the El Primero movement and bearing the 3-color subdial signature. And this is an example on which the condition is maybe not the best one, but at least it's an original one. We have the right serial number, but the watch has encountered his specific journey, and the hands, for example, has been exchanged, and we will be able to put it back in its original state, and that's also part of the job. The first one I showed you was in pristine condition, so on this one we even have nothing else to do because we want to keep it as original as possible, and this one will, I would say, find once again the original state once it will have been through the heritage department and the restoration departments. So yeah, it's an MK1, very interesting A386 model that will soon join the Icons program in one of the other boutiques that we have.
Oh, that's beautiful. Are you ever tempted to sort of keep them? Like you find one and then you're like, I'd quite like to keep this, either for the Zenith archives or for yourself personally.
I don't let them do that, you know.
No, okay.
He don't allow us to do it, but when we found pieces with Laurence, with my colleagues, sometimes we are tempted to keep them, of course, because we have our own museum and we want also to highlight it and one day really open something where we can highlight all these beauties. But yeah, for the time being, the Icons program has the priority, okay, because the client is at the center of our attention. But we all know that one day we will find them. So one day or the other, the watch that maybe we find once, we will try to find it twice.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I wish you all the best. Now I'd like to open the floor to questions. If anybody has any questions, they can type in the box, and we will
sure
have a pleasure in answering. So I'm going to connect here. And here we go. Wonderful. So, how many watches do you sort of imagine you're going to have per year or be able to find? Do you have any idea, to the nearest 10 maybe, of how many you could?
You know, we mentioned 4, 5, 6 boutiques ideally this year, plus the manufacturer. To create a certain atmosphere, we want to have 3, 4 watches at least.
At least.
So you do the math, and that's what we're trying to go for. Yeah, around, I would say, 25, 30 pieces per year.
Yeah, and we do want a rush. We do not want to drop a model that have no significance historically. So this also, I would say, filter the whole drop of sets around the world, because we want to focus our attention on icons, iconic models, and also we have developed in our reflection different acts, different design era or period of time of the rich history of the brand, to drop and to release step by step these acts. So it's like theater. First of all, we focus the attention, as mentioned by Julien, on 1969-1972 period, and then we will of course make the clients discover other design period, because we have a rich patrimony and a lot of space ages models, for example, that we will soon release.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so next question. Where would Zenith draw a line between accepting a restoration work? In its quest to preserve the history of a specific piece, would Zenith accept a watch that would require a replacement of the dial, for example? No.
No.
No,
no, never. I mean, replacing a dial will make the watch, I would say, decrease by 90% the value of it. So this is something that we really do not want to do. So if the dial is not original, we don't buy it, we don't source it, and we don't put it into icons. That's definitely a no-go for us.
Okay. Okay, we have Sean Lee, an old colleague of mine. Hello, Sean. Are there any scenarios other than fake or questionable watches where you would not accept to restore a vintage piece?
There's plenty of scenario, yeah. But I mean, as mentioned, the most important information for us is the original serial number. We know also sometimes that people may have, I would say, build from scratch a fake because of serial numbers. So this is something on which we have a lot of attention. So yeah, there's a lot of scenario. We are, I would say, beginning the story, beginning the journey. So we will see what we will encounter also. So it's hard to answer this one nowadays. Yeah.
Okay. So next question from Nick Edgley. Great interview, Sophie. Oh, thank you. Thank you to Zenith. Where do Zenith think they will be in 5 years' time? The #1 brand to buy, perhaps.
We will be probably among the very, very top brands, of course. And I think what we want to do is to capitalize on this great heritage that we have, to continue to be a very authentic brand. And I mean, this Zenith Icons program is definitely in line with this philosophy. When I say authentic, is really, you know, to make sure that, for example, we have 100% of our Zenith watches that have a Zenith movement. So we want to be a true brand. You know, when you visit Le Locle, and for those who have, you went to the attic, the famous attic of Charles Vermeau, it's there. You can see the brick wall, it's a true story. So we want to play on heritage, authenticity, but keep on moving into the future. Because when I met those gentlemen who made the El Primero, you know, I managed to meet these people in their 80s. And one thing they told me I never forgot is that it's great to give tribute to the past, perfect, but don't forget to continue to be innovative. That's what they did in the 60s. So the minimum respect we should do to these gentlemen is also to continue to come with new creations. And this is the balance between the past, the future, tradition, and innovation. And this is very important for Zenith, and I think in the long term, people are trusting the brand because of this, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have time for a couple more questions. What was the most spectacular piece ever found? That's a good question.
So far is the yellow gold G381 that I showed you. We have a couple of very interesting models that we have been proposed. We are analyzing them. I cannot tease you, but these are amongst the rarest, so really unicorns. And it does exist, I can assure you, and I can tell it to my daughter, for example, unicorns does exist, at least in the watchmaking industry. So this one in pristine condition is the best we have found so far.
Okay, excellent.
And soon to be released, soon to be joining the Icons program, the Zenith Icons.
Oh, that's exciting. Okay, one last question from James Dowling. How will you calculate the pricing on these vintage watches? Oh, tricky one to end with. We were hoping we weren't going to get that one, right? No.
For me, it's a very important one, of course, because and we need to know how we do it. So, of course, what we do is we look at the value of that particular watch on the secondary market, of course. Each watch in the auctions, in the secondary market, has a certain selling value of the moment. Then, of course, we evaluate the amount of work that has to be done, how much restoration we have to do, because this definitely has a cost. And then, I mean, it's a question of evaluating where we position the watch. The idea, and you understood, we are not making tons of watches, you know, it's not good. The main objective is not to make a profitable business of this one, you know. It's a service, it's a guarantee, it's an experience that we offer to our clients, and this is really the main objective. So we want to go for the fair price, and people understand that buying from the manufacturer, they have such a level of guarantee in terms of quality. They know what they're buying. By the way, we offer a guarantee as well. So it's like buying a new watch in a way. So that has a certain price, but we try to be fair on the price all the time, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, that brings us to the end of our panel discussion. Thank you so much. I could continue on much, much longer, but congratulations. It's a brilliant initiative, and I look forward to following this as you go forward.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Always a pleasure. And yes, of course, we'll keep on going with Zenith Icons. We'll have plenty of updates in the coming years. Thank you so much.
Thank you.